Hey, I'm your host, Dr. Desiree Cassell. I'm an orthopedic and pelvic floor physical therapist specializing in women's health, aka pelvic floor. I'm a wife, mom of 3, foodie, lover of all things movement and nature, and I'm super passionate about educating, empowering, and supporting other women like you to find and maintain balance throughout all aspects of their lives, without pain, pressure, or peeing their pants. And this is the Balanced Momtality Podcast, where we will talk about all things pelvic floor, your core, and optimizing your pregnancy, birth, and postpartum recovery, providing you with the knowledge and tools so that you can feel like the strong, playful, and happy mom that you and your family deserve. Now let's get you out of those pads and back to loving movement. Fill up your water, pop in those AirPods, roll out your mat, and let's connect. Before we start today's episode, just a quick disclaimer that anything mentioned in this podcast is not meant to treat or diagnose any medical conditions. If you have any questions or concerns about your healthcare needs, please seek the care of your medical provider. This is also a safe space where we will be talking about very sensitive but important topics, such as issues with peeing and pooping, relationships, and even sex. So if you have littles around, probably a good idea to pop those AirPods in. But otherwise, I hope you enjoy today's episode. Hey beautiful, so happy to have you here for another week on the Pelvic Floor Core and More show. I have a couple favors to ask you. First thing, because I am just struggling to get this information out. I am showing up for 2 episodes a week. I know you guys are listening, but I really would love if you could leave me a 5-star review if any of my shows have resonated with you or helped you in any capacity. It really helps me show up in the feed for other women looking for this information, and also just helps inspire me to keep showing up here for you. So please, if you haven't, scroll down to the bottom of my podcast page, leave me that 5-star review, and even better, share it in your social medias, share it with friends, and tag me at the Balanced Momtality. I love to see these reviews, and it just, again, really helps support my mission, and I couldn't do this work without you guys. So I appreciate you so much, and please take the time to leave me a review. But with that being said, I do hope that you are sticking around for the Restore Your Joint series. It's been pretty fun working our way up the body. We did the spine last week. We talked a lot about mid-back pain, neck pain, and even how shoulder girdle pain can come from the spine. And we are diving in more to the shoulder later this week. But today, I got inspired by a patient I saw earlier today to talk more about how we view our body and the impact that that can really have on our healing. We have talked mindset on this episode so many times, especially recently, but a lot of times we're addressing that mindset from this lens of why am I not doing the thing, right? We've talked about motivation and how it comes and goes and how we need to be consistent and how our mindset really affects that and blah, 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 right? However, that is so important, but we are not talking that kind of mindset today. We are talking about how our thoughts and our beliefs can actually create our physical health or impact our physical health and well-being. It can create the environment of our body, and yet so many of us are just completely neglecting the true power that we have already innately inside of our body. You know, the human body is an amazing tool. It is something that heals itself, right? Like it actually heals itself, you guys. That is pretty dang magical. And the frustrating thing can be when our body isn't healing the way we want, right? The pain that's becoming chronic, that leak that became pain with intercourse or tailbone pain, and the function is just getting worse and worse. Your quality of life is slipping. Everything seems to be struggling, even though you're even maybe doing all the things. And if that is you, please listen to this episode. If you are feeling broken right now, if you hear your thoughts being pretty negative, right? Like you are feeling like, oh, my body's broken. My body isn't the same as it used to. I haven't quote unquote bounced back yet. Or I even had my patient today say that she views her body as diseased. And she has for years and years and years. And that is why I wanted to come on here today, because just like my patient really needed this message, it made me think, you know what? I bet you we all need this message, including myself. This is something that can be so easily overlooked and written off, right? We might show up for the thing, but if our internal mental state is negative and high anxiety and stress, it doesn't matter if you're doing all the work. You're going to feel like you're climbing a hill that keeps getting bigger and bigger because you're not addressing the environment that you're trying to heal in, right? And I'm not just talking your external environment, because yes, let's face it, if we've got clutter and mess and an unhealthy and external environment, it is going to be hard to eat healthy, sleep well, be low stressed and easily regulated. So our external environment definitely impacts our body's ability to heal, and it impacts our mindset and how we feel about things overall. But this is more the internal environment. How are you setting up your body? Because our body does heal when given the proper environment. And this was something, even with my own healing journey, that took me a long time to really grasp. But one thing that kind of started that spark of really getting me jazzed up about how beneficial or how impactful our thoughts are on our body was all the way back when I was in nutrition school in my undergrad degree, when our professor was talking about the psychology around weight gain and metabolism in our food. And I'll never forget when she said, when you eat that piece of cake, you can either hold on to it as fat or release it as energy. It all depends on how you think about it. And I was like, what? Like, what are you talking about? That piece of cake still has just the same of sugar and fat and, macro compounds that it would have, regardless of how you thought about it. So what are you saying? And it was so cool looking into these studies that really highlighted the reality of how our thoughts impact the chemical responses in our body, which then in turn literally impact the physical state of being. The actual physical chemical environment in our body is impacted by what we think. And so again, going back to that piece of cake, she's like, if you're eating that piece of cake and you're, thinking about it like, oh man, I probably shouldn't have eaten this cake. Oh, well, we're going to eat it anyway. And there's a sense of guilt, or, you're just not feeling good about it while you're eating it. You might even be like, oh my gosh, this is so good, but bad me, right? Like, oh, I shouldn't have caved for this cake. When we have those thoughts, your brain actually starts to go into a state of stress, right? Because you're already creating these neural pathways in your brain that are coming from a state of stress, because that's the reality. That mind-body connection really does change that chemical makeup in our system. And when you are making a thought, your brain is constantly rewiring itself, right? Based on what you think, feel, and experience. And that neuroplasticity is that ability of your brain to be malleable. It can change, but it won't change if you're not making those thoughts different, right? It's not like we eat certain things and that changes the chemical makeup. Well, yes, that has some impact on, how much insulin's released and hunger hormones and all these other things. It's really more about the thoughts that you are choosing to pay attention to and choosing to repeat repeat in your head. And if you don't choose to change those thoughts, you're keeping those same pathways and making them stronger and stronger. But you can also use it to your advantage and start to change how you think, therefore changing how your body is wiring and changing how your body is responding to those thoughts. So those repeated thoughts become neural pathways. And if you keep telling yourself, I'm broken, your brain wires around that belief and your body responds to that belief accordingly. There's this really cool study or studies, I should say, because this is a pretty popular place of study and research lately, but that study that's coming out right now that's showing that it's not just truth that your brain believes, right? Like there might be in the external environment a fact and something that is fake, right? Like there is a factual thing in front that your brain would know as a fact. But if you tell yourself that the fake thing is the fact, and you are telling yourself that like it is true, your brain believes that that is the truth, right? What you're telling yourself, how you're feeling about yourself becomes your normal. It becomes your reality, whether it is your reality or not. So if you're saying your body's broken, your body is literally going to be working from a state of stress like it is broken. But if we can build resiliency and talk to our body in a kinder way, saying, man, my body has been through so much, but it is resilient. My body can heal. That puts the body in a safe, happy place where it can actually heal, right? So when we flip it and you start to practice positive, empowering beliefs like I'm healing or my body is resilient, your brain starts to rewire for growth, safety, and strength. Yes, even if you don't fully believe it. And every thought you think does send that signal. It's either a stress or a safety signal through your nervous system. And the negative fear-based thoughts do release those stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. And not only does that cause your body to tighten your muscles, especially your pelvic floor, it disrupts digestion and hormone regulation, which was a big thing working with women, who are so stressed, barely eating because they're trying to lose weight, and then they're stressed and thinking about their body like it's crumbling on them, and they're wondering why they can't lose weight, why their hormones aren't working, why their cycles aren't regular, why they're having a hard time sleeping, why they have no energy. And it can really come down to how you're thinking about your healing. Keeping your body in fight or flight will make healing feel impossible, but a supportive, self-compassionate way of thinking and talking to yourself starts to release oxytocin and serotonin. And these are the healing hormones. These help your muscles relax, help your nervous system relax, improves pelvic floor blood flow and oxygenation, boost tissue regeneration, immunity, recovery. The list goes on, you guys. We need to be talking happy and confidently and supportive and in a self-compassionate way to ourselves, right? Positive self-talk seems so silly, but it's so crucial. And going back to that cake, you eat it, you feel guilty about it, you release cortisol and stress hormones, you're holding on to every piece of that cake. Whereas if you eat that cake and you're just so happy, you're enjoying that cake because you know your body is resilient and it's going to deal with that cake however it needs to, and that you're doing the things to take care of your body, guess what? Your body only holds on to what it needs of that cake and it lets go of the rest because it's not wondering and worrying, is she going to feed me later? Am I going to be starved later? Because that's what the body thinks when it's in a state of stress, right? That survival mode, and it learns your patterns. So we need to keep an eye on those thoughts because they can so quickly come up. And if we're aware of them, we can have a bigger impact than we might think. Your nervous system does dictate healing, and that autonomic nervous system with the sympathetic space being in fight or flight, we need to do what we can to come back into that parasympathetic place where we can rest, digest, and restore, because that controls all the healing. When we're stuck in that state of stress, even mentally, your body will not prioritize repair. It's just going to survive. That's why you probably feel like you've been in survival mode forever. So I love breath work. We talk about it every episode pretty much, and it is huge for nervous system down training. So learning to breathe, reframe those thoughts, and feel safe in your body again can shift your body into a rest and restore space, which is exactly what your pelvic floor and core need, right? Chronic thoughts or shame, fear of being not enough or not being able to bounce back often show up as hypertonicity or tightness in the pelvic floor, hips, jaw, and diaphragm. All of those shames or I should haves, right? All of the feelings of not doing enough, not pushing enough, get held into these deeper spaces in our body. And when you shift your inner narrative, you release these stored emotions, and then you're able to reconnect to your breath. The tightness then softens, and it's not magic, even though it feels like it. And I do like to say it is, right? Like it honestly, yes, the body is magic, but it's actually just you becoming aware and shifting back into the actual reality that is. The actual truth is your body is resilient. Your body is amazing. Look at all the things it's done for you. That's embodiment. Because you can be doing everything right physically, but if your internal dialogue is full of fear, frustration, or judgment, your body is just not going to feel safe enough to heal. And it's not just your muscles that we need to heal. It's your mind, your thoughts, and yes, our breath and our energy that helps carry us throughout the day. These pieces are all so important. You know, our body holds memory. And if you've been through any kind of trauma, which even delivery and pregnancy is trauma, but any trauma, whether it's sexual trauma, physical trauma, emotional trauma, spiritual trauma, there's so many kinds of traumas out there, unfortunately, and we are not immune to them. And that is when our body will hold on to that, and we're not going to sit in it for the most part. We're going to just keep chugging along because who's got time for that? And then years later, your body's screaming at you with all these chronic conditions, autoimmune conditions, and you're wondering, what the heck? How did I get here? And it's because you shoved it all down. You put it all down and kept going to the point that now your body had to literally stop you in your tracks, back you into a corner, and yell at you for you to pay attention. And so I want you to become aware of these thoughts and really start to try and catch it and deal with your shit. Because if you don't deal with your shit now, you will be forced to later. And my friend, it's going to take so much longer to unlayer all of that work. Whereas if you just address it right away, you're feeling stuck in fight or flight, or you had trauma show up, or you're hurting, deal with it. Don't shove it down, right? We need to deal with it. So I want you to become aware of some of these common disempowering thoughts that you might not even realize you're thinking, right? An obvious one though, my body is broken, or we can say diseased. Your body is not broken. And even if you have a disease in your body, that does not mean your body is diseased. That means your body is dealing with a disease, and we need to give it compassion to say, hey, body, you are resilient. We can fight this. We've got this. Build it that safety net internally so that it has its best fighting chance, right? Or we might be thinking, nothing works. Nothing works for me. That's just also really giving your body a slap in the face, right? It's like, oh, you're resilient, you're amazing. Oh, but nothing works for you. You're not responding to anything. That's sad because that's also not the case. So if you're finding nothing's working, but you're doing all the things, it's the internal work we're missing. And maybe it is some systemic things like hormone balance and looking at your sleep and your nutrition and some of these big factors. But again, nothing works is not true. Things do work. We also have to give things time. It is not an instant quick fix. It's just not. And especially if you have years of healing and compounded layers of trauma, it's really going to take a while. We have to be patient with our body as we're healing. But even things like I have a weak core pelvic floor, right? Like I hear this all the time, and I even used to say it to myself. I'll tell you, like I've said many times, most of the time the pelvic floor is truly not just weak, it's actually really tight. And again, why is it so tight? Because yeah, that can make it weak, but why is it tight? It's because you're stressed. It's because you're clenching. It's because you're holding all of your fears and shame in your pelvic bowl. Let it all go. Let it soften. Let it open up so that then it can strengthen, because the strength is there. The strength is ready to show up, but it's not going to if your body isn't ready for it. And if you're super tight, your body is not ready for it. But even things like this is just part of being a woman, right? Or a mom. Like that's what I was told when I was peeing my pants. Like, welcome to motherhood. This is just part of it. So that's where we get into these issues, right? Because yeah, that's not saying my body is broken. It's just saying, oh, I guess this is life now. But that's also discrediting all of the crap you just went through, and it's ignoring all of it and pushing through. So then it's just going to get stored again, because the reality is it's not just part of it. There is support. You don't have to live with pain. You don't have to live in a state of stress and confusion, wondering what helps your body and what makes it worse. There is support out there. And if you're feeling stuck, it means you haven't found the right support yet. So definitely reach out to me, because I am here for this inner work just as much as I am here for the external work. And this is what we do inside Restore. So yes, my 12-week on-demand program, and especially in my one-on-one coaching sessions, we are diving deep, not only into the body, but we have weekly affirmations built in. We're trying to keep an eye on the mindset piece as we're doing our breath work. There's journal prompts throughout it that I'm going to be adding into this next stage as I roll it out, which by the way, my Restore program is on a big Black Friday sale right now where I'm taking $100 off, you guys. So it is a huge Black Friday sale. Jump on top of this sale before it goes back up to normal pricing. The link will be in the show notes below. Make sure you don't forget to use the referral code RESTORE100 for that $100 off. But you guys, this is already there for you if you want to just hop in and get the support and game plan to take that decision fatigue and mental load away. This is the holistic work that we do inside Restore. But just to give you guys some ideas of how these thoughts really do show up, right? We talked about tension and breath holding, but even that fear-based movement, right? The anxiety and that apprehension of like, oh, this might hurt. So we move stiff, we move slow. And because of that thought of, oh, this might hurt, the body actually guards, it tightens, which creates more pain. And you're just confirming your belief. You're saying, hey, yep, this hurts. So especially places like chronic pain where you've had pain for over 6 months, this is no longer just we hurt ourselves and our body's letting us know. There might not even be much of a physical problem anymore, but because of that input to the nervous system saying, hey, danger, protect, this area isn't good, this area is quote unquote broken. Now the brain is wiring that hypersensitized to say, yep, we're broken here, send signals, remember, it hurts down here, remember, hold tight down here. And unfortunately, that can cause so many problems. It creates that loop of restriction and fear that really blocks your healing. So again, let's rewire this narrative, start using mantras that really help with embodiment and positive affirmations, especially while you're doing breath work. Things like I am safe, I am strong, I am resilient. Like give some compassion to your body, right? And maybe we even journal some of this. What do I believe about my body? Where did that come from? Like, where did these beliefs come from? Because they came from somewhere. And then we can really evaluate, is this how I want to feel about my body? What do I want to believe about my body instead? Because that's the cool work. Like I mentioned before, even if you don't believe that your body is this resilient, strong, magnificent vessel, if you tell yourself that over and over again, your nervous system will believe it, which will over time create that truth for yourself. So even if it feels like faking it till you make it, Go with it, friend. It's going to help you so much more than falling into that negative thought spiral. But again, just know that this isn't just the mental and it's also not just the physical. We've got to be aware of the emotional and spiritual pieces. And when you shift from that fear to trust space, your breath is going to deepen, your core activates more naturally, and it really accelerates your healing. So just know that I am here for you for this journey. And as a little homework for you, I do ask just to choose one belief and rewrite it this week. Just one, and see if you can catch every time it pops up into your head and rewrite it. Rewire that pattern, rewire that pathway. We work on rewiring the brain all the time, especially with things like urgency and when we're really trying to rewire patterns and behaviors. And the cool part is, guys, it can happen in just a couple weeks, but that's if you are really focusing and catching those thoughts to say, hey, nope, not that way. We're not going down that path again. We're going to come over here, even though it feels a little awkward, a little sketchy. We're just going to keep showing up over here and see how it feels, right? Show up over here and say, no, it's okay. I'm safe. I'm healthy. I'm strong. See how you start to feel. And then pair it with some breath work or other embodiment practices. And definitely come get in a one-on-one coaching call if you've got a lot of complex medical history going on, you're struggling mentally, physically, and you don't know where to start. A one-on-one really is the best place to start with that. And we can get a deep dive into your individual patterns, your problems, and get a good holistic program built for you. But if you want to take this on your own, join the Restore 12-week program during this Black Friday sale with $100 off. That's making it $397 currently, because regular price right now is $497, and that's because this is still my beta program. But coming this next year in 2026, I'm launching this full bad boy built out at $997. So $397, guys, much cheaper than $997. Take advantage. But if this resonated, share it with a friend, or please, again, leave me a review. It really helps more women feel seen and supported. And I am so grateful for you. We are strong, we are resilient, and we've got this. Well, that's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day. I know you've got so many other important things going on, but I hope it was helpful and you leave here with some tools to help you in your healing journey. And I just want to ask you, if you have found this helpful, to please leave a review on iTunes. Scroll down to the bottom of my podcast page and leave that 5-star review so it can help other women see this information. And also, if you want to be a part of my community of amazing women trying to balance all the things, great tips and insight and sharing stories and just motivating each other along the way, feel free to join my Facebook group, The Balanced Momtality, Wellness and Support. I hope to see you here next time on the Balanced Momtality Podcast.